You keep your name out of your mouth. Dominic Mysterio on the microphone, everybody. What a goddamn great cunning linguist he is. I'm John Rankin with my review WWE Raw from Seattle, Washington. No, I wasn't at the show. Why? Didn't know they were running in Seattle until last week. By then, tickets were bought up. I could have bought one, but you know what? It wouldn't have been the best seat. And honestly, the price was just astronomical and ridiculous. And the only reason I would have gone is to hang out with my friend Roxy, who I went to the AEW Dynamite show in Seattle with. She's awesome. She was at this show. She's great. She's hilarious. I hope she had a great goddamn time. I hope everybody in in the environs of Seattle or that live in Seattle that were at this show that I interact with had a goddamn blast. About 10,000 people there, so that was a pretty goddamn big crowd. Now, there were moments that the crowd was really, really electric, but there were a lot of times that this crowd wasn't exactly hyped, shall we say. They were not Mojo Rawley. They couldn't stay hyped. God, remember that? That was over for about 15 seconds. But anyway, evidently there were a lot of travel issues for whatever reason. I don't think it was weather-related, unless it was the weather from wherever, whenever, and we will be together, and I'll be there, and you'll be near, and that's for real, my dear. And man, Shakira taking over my mind, as she is known to do, because Shakira, look at her, takes over everybody's mind. But anyway, there were travel issues. I'm not exactly sure what the reason was. To be honest, the airports here are kind of absolutely shit, especially SeaTac. If you know anything about SeaTac International Airport, it is a dive. So half the roster couldn't be there. Now, you could kind of tell because A, they announced that, and B, they had some matches go long. But that being said, actually some pretty good moments on this show. I'm not going to say it was great, but considering the restrictions and, again, the travel issues, it did pretty well. I'm still glad I didn't go to the show because there were a few things that I just wasn't interested in. And again, the only reason I would have gone was to hang out with my friend Roxy. So, yeah, hot crowd to start. They cheered Ray. He's had his ups and downs. Let's get to up and some downing. Good old Simon Miller right there. And then Dominic shows up. Keep my name out of your mouth. And he was just having an off night. Now, I'm not the biggest Dominic fan, obviously. I loathe him, quite frankly, every time he's on screen. But this was an especially off night. I don't know if this promo did him any favors. They're still doing this Ray Dominic thing. And I know why. Because we're going to get a tag match with Dominic and Priest against Ray and Bad Bunny, but I don't know. Bad Bunny will be coming back soon, and he's going to want revenge on you. So yeah, this went a bit, and then we had Balor show up, and it was going to be a match, Balor and Ray. And credit to Balor, apparently he suffered some form of a calf tear, and managed to get to Mania, and then got a bunch of staples in his head. You know, it's funny, when I reviewed that match, I got some backlash, ironic, considering it's about Mania, for saying, that they weren't hitting each other hard. It didn't look like they were hitting each other that hard with the weapons, and then Balor gets hurt with that inadvertent ladder shot. And, I mean, credit to him for working through that, and he really deserves some time off. I mean, he's a beast as far as, being willing to work through that. They had a good match. There were a couple commercial breaks. The crowd was into it. This is one of the few things the crowd was actually into. Dominic, tries to attack Ray, but doesn't succeed. Later he does with the chain. A drive-by in Seattle. Boy, that's typical. And the police do nothing. And then the stomp. 1, 2, 3. Not bad. Fine opener for what it was. And then earlier, Kathy Kelly. Oh, good grief, Kathy Kelly. My God. With Otis, Gable, and Maxine, further proving that this gimmick is absolute bullshit. Then we smash cut to Lita having been attacked. Liv and Raquel are wondering what the hell's going on. Becky shows up and says, "Oh, you don't know what happened." Obviously, Trish attacked Lita. Obviously. Or it's going to be that Lita faked being attacked so Trish could join to do what she did a little bit later. So anyway, we get recaps of Bork attacking Cody. I'll forever laugh at Cody being attacked. He's trying so hard to be his dad. He is trying so hard to be his dad. And it ain't working. People are going to slowly start to see it. I'm not saying he's not talented, but he ain't his dad, and he ain't ever going to be close. So, Becky says she knows who attacked Lita, or she has an idea, and mentions local medical facility. Couldn't just say hospital? Guess Vince's mustache was lording over creative there. His, weird stash where he's tying women to the railroad tracks. So we then get a Rollins video package. Whoa, 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 whoa. Obviously, he couldn't be there due to travel issues. And Raquel has cupping issues. If you don't know what cupping is, you know how in some AEW programs and actually on some wrestling programs you've seen the blotches. It looks like they are going to form leprosy. It's a way to relieve stress and tension and stuff like that. It's a cupping issue. Cupping issues like this are even better. Moving on from that, but it's hard to do that with Raquel, who is as flat as a washboard. Okay, let's get away from this. Liv and Raquel against Becky and Trish. Women's tag team titles. My one question was, could whoever have attacked Lita get arrested for beating up the elderly? And could Liv and Raquel have been arrested for beating up the elderly? Even though Trish moves better than Lita, and Trish is either at the same age or a little bit older than Lita. And I wrote down, Trish turns on Becky when? Because it was obvious. And then the match was decent. It was decent for what it was. It wasn't badly worked, despite the fact Raquel looked totally lost. Maybe she was confused because she saw minorities in the crowd and was like, man, I wish I was back on January 6th. So anyway, Trish with a Rana for 2. By the way, I do want to say that if anybody has a problem with me throwing little political jabs and snark into my reviews, I don't care. I don't care. I do this for fun. Go on if you don't like it. Trish gets that, off the ropes Rana. The crowd got into this. It did go... It went a bit long, and I know why. It got a bit messy. There was a very awkward landing that Becky did at one point. There was a Tower of Doom spot. Somebody said the tower has fallen. Sir, a second tower has fallen. I'm sorry. I'm not. So, we get a Oblivion countered into the manhandle slam. That got broken up. And then Trish got in and got hit with the most devastating maneuver in all professional wrestling. The surprise roll-up. 1, 2, 3. New tag team champions. So Trish lost. And then they milked it too obviously for Trish not to turn on Becky. Becky goes to leave after, a hug and everything and all that. And Trish flattens her. Becky just having more partners turn on her than Sting in the 90s. Becky is the new Sting. Every tag team partner turns on her. Tell me I'm wrong. Those that remember that 1990s Sting, remember that. Fall Brawl, no, Halloween Havoc 95. It's basically that's a shortened version of this. But anyway, so new tag team champions. They got Liv and Raquel out of there really quick, though. To be fair, who wants to see Raquel celebrate? Good on Liv, though. Good on Liv. Really am happy for Liv. Evidently, creative wasn't because they're like, get out, go, so we can do this. Trish having one last run after 2019 was supposed to be her last run. That's fine. Her versus Becky. That's cool. Put that for SummerSlam. I think you can get enough out of this where you can get something out of it. And maybe Bayley joins Becky and we get a dream tag match to finish off this whole thing at SummerSlam. So anyway, but I did write down Trish, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Kelly, my God, she looks great. Heyman dodges the questions about the Beast Bork Laser and says, well, Owens and Solo, and Owens had a bad knee. He's like a one-legged man in the ring tonight. He's Kerry Von Erich after June 4th, 1986. And only one foot touched the ground, folks. Kerry should still be in the 91-92 Rumble. Rumbles, whatever, screwed that up. So, Bayley said to Io and Dakota she talked to Adam Pearce. She got a title shot, and soon she'll have more leverage to get Dakota and Io a tag title shot. And then they're like, well, wait, what about us or whatever? Maybe we deserve a shot. And Bayley's like, fine, I'll go in there and ask. So Io got slotted into Bayley's slot. That sounded less dirty in my head, but I'm just going to roll with it. And Lashley, his pedestal is like him standing on the top of a wedding cake. And now you can't unsee it. Lashley and Bronson, here comes Bronson. Now he's going down to Emmett's Fixer Shop to fix Emmett. And they do big man stuff. There was a point where Bronson countered the Hurt Lock by just boom, just kind of laying out. It's like they tried to do the NWA 312 pay-per-view, where Tyrus looked like he was about to pass out or pass away on top of Chris Adonis. God, that would have been such a shame. And at least Bronson's an athlete, and that looked pretty goddamn painful. Yeah, by the way, fuck the fact that Tyrus is the NWA champion. How dare Billy Corgan call himself a wrestling fan? But they did more big man stuff. There was an awkward landing when Bronson just hit like a, big old tackle. And then there was a Hurt Lock. They tumble outside and they could do a double count out. They keep fighting. The crowd was cheering the post-match beatings at least. So at least there was that. Kathy Kelly would appear a little bit later. But first we get Cody. Cody, by the way, who woke the crowd up with so much pyro. I hope everybody had earplugs. He's selling the beating by Bork. I hate to use this word when it comes to wrestling. Cody is fake. So fake. So goddamn fake. He's trying to be his dad. It's not working. I don't buy it. And that's it. That's it. I have nothing to say about it. It's the same flowery, insincere language and verbiage where, yes, he's got to overcome adversity. He's got to do all this stuff. You could try to eat this thing up as much as you want. I'm still going to laugh every time this guy basically opens up his goddamn mouth and every time he gets beaten down and everything. And hopefully they do it in front of Brandy so that Brandy can learn that every time she's around Cody, she's bad luck. I'm sorry, guys. It's still so funny that Cody lost at Mania 39 after all that build. Then he got beat down by the Beast Bork Laser. And then he shows up and sure, some of the crowd popped. Actually, they popped, whoa. But if you listen during the promo, I'm not saying there were a lot, but there were some boos. I wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear. I heard some. Some people, it's going to be divisive. People are going to see it. I'm not saying Cody doesn't work hard. I'm not saying he doesn't have his fans. People may pop when he wins the title. Am I going to? Oh, I'm just going to laugh. Because they had their chance and they blew it. But yeah, Brock's going to eat Cody alive is what I wrote down. I'm sorry. It was too funny because it's so fake. I hate to use that word, but it is. Speaking of things I didn't care for, though, Usos against Alpha Academy. Gable just loves to eat pins. And he did here. He took the D from 2 men and stayed down for 3. Believe me, you take the D from 2 men, you are going to stay down. Especially in Seattle. Don't ask me how I know. But that's it. That's it right there. Look, they did what they did. I don't care. The Uso stuff is kind of getting passé for me. Io gently scissoring the ropes and splitting as we go to break. You heard her just split on me and just screaming me in Japanese. Moving on. Io against Mia Yim and Pipper Niven. Pippered eggs. Anybody who gets that, I love you guys. Contenders match. Corey mentions that he's been in Seattle for 2 days and he's miserable. Don't worry, Corey. Seattle is more miserable because you are existing in the environs of it. They did some good stuff. Piper can do some good heavyweight stuff. I don't mean that as an insult. As far as being the bigger athlete, she can do the bigger spots, the Vader type spots or whatever. And it works. Mia Yim can work. And Mia Yim doesn't feel important on the show. Now, I'm not saying she's not important. She just doesn't feel important as a character. Io end up hitting the moonsault 1, 2, 3. Io wins. Bayley, the way she's looking, she's going to cost Io the match. Whether it's next week, whether it's at Backlash, she's going to cost her the match. And then Byron is with Owens. We couldn't get Kathy back here, and I got nothing against Byron. And how is Owens' knee? Well, we'll find out. Solo makes his entrance at 7:35. We go to break. Bork is back next week. And by the time the bell rang, we had 15 minutes left in the show. Solo beat Owens' knee down and Kept doing that, so Owens kept fighting back. Couldn't do the cannonball in the corner. Eventually, a bunch of Usos interference. Samoan Spike. There you are. And then Zayn and Riddle literally get to the building just on time. Well, not a moment too late, rather. But Riddle, he was getting so high above me. Tal Bachman's an idiot, by the way. And they run to the ring, send the crowd home happy, and there you are. All things considered, the show wasn't that bad. I am glad I didn't go, though, because trust me, traveling to and from Seattle is a chore. It's a goddamn chore. That being said, I hope everybody that I talked to on social media had a blast there. And maybe the next time they come to Seattle, I'll go. Probably not. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.